Hey everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video I'll be sharing with you all the books that I ended up reading in the month of May, in addition to the books that I plan on reading in June. So I feel like May was just a busy month, especially on the weekends. There was like 3 weeks of just family visiting and all that stuff, so the weekend is usually when I read the most. So even though I had big expectations in terms of how much I could read, just realistically with the amount of time that I could dedicate it to, I couldn't do as much as I wanted. So despite like kind of all the craziness of May, I did manage to read a total of 3 books, and some of them are fairly long too, which I'm very proud about, and they're all over in terms of genre as well, which always makes it a fun and exciting month. So without further ado, let's get started. First up, I have Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, and this is her newest release that came out. I got this one from the library and I couldn't wait to get my hands on it. So this follows kind of 2 writers who essentially end up having to compete to be the kind of biographer for this really infamous woman. Just think it's very similar to Evelyn Hugo, where she was this very big socialite from a very big family, and she's now decided that she wants to tell her story to the world. So not only are we getting flashbacks of this kind of famous person's, this like celebrities kind of memories leading up to kind of the scandal that she's kind of known for, where these 2 writers eventually obviously start to fall in love. So it kind of goes from there. I thought it was a very interesting premise, and I did really like I feel like I preferred the past storyline over the present one. In particular, I feel like Emily Henry, like I said, a lot of her books are hit or miss. Like I really love Happy Place and Funny Story, but like Beach Read I didn't really care for, and some of the other ones as well were just fine. And this one, it was one where it was like I wasn't obsessed with it as I was with like Funny Story or Happy Place, but I still really enjoyed it. I'm looking at my notes here in particular, but one of the comments I wrote in my notes here was that I didn't really believe the I guess you can say like the romance. It felt very forced, it was very obvious, and I didn't really feel that chemistry grow. I felt like it was very one-sided until like the guy decided, he's like, oh yes, I'm in love with you. So I didn't feel like that transition from, you know, like acquaintances to like a couple was very realistic. Like I felt like it was very kind of forced, and it kind of came out of nowhere in terms of the guy being into it as well. So that part I didn't really like, and it the conflict resolution happened so quickly and almost off the page as well. Obviously there's like the 3rd act conflict that arises with the couple, and there's some other things as well, and I feel like for the most part it was resolved very, very quickly, and it was some of it happened off the page as well, so I felt like that was just an easy out. I felt like it was just resolved too quickly. It was like, you know, they broke up for like 4 pages basically, so I didn't really enjoy that. But overall I gave this a kind of 3 out of 5 stars. It wasn't like my favorite Emily Henry, but yeah, it was just kind of okay. I did, like I said, I did enjoy the past narrative better, but I think it's better not to compare it to the 7-Up Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, just kind of to, you know, keep that in mind. This was the month of library books for sure. So, because like I said, I got the Emily Henry book from the library, and this is a book that I got from the library as well because I wasn't sure how I feel about it, but I ended up picking up a hard copy as well because I did enjoy it so much. And it is Greenteeth by Molly O'Neill. So this takes place kind of, I want to say like in kind of medieval times is kind of the vibe that I was getting. And basically there is this creature called a Jenny, where she kind of lives in this pond by this town, and she's been alive for centuries. She's seen the town kind of, you know, grow and evolve over many years, until one day this woman is thrown into the lake or the pond basically because she is presumed to be a witch, and Jenny ends up rescuing her, and they realize that there is this dark force in the town, and they kind of team up together with a goblin to essentially kind of override or kind of like help defeat the evil force that's in this town. And they end up kind of going on a quest, and it goes from there. This one I really enjoyed. Like I said, I got this from the library because I wasn't sure how I would feel about it, but I really loved it. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I thought this was really fun and unique. There's really much a sense of found family. I really love the banter between this unlikely trio of characters, and that sense of found family and the relationships that they form throughout the course of the novel was really fun. It was such an interesting premise, and I really loved the characters. I think the characters is where it really shines through, and the ending was spectacular. Like the last 50 pages or so, I couldn't put it down. It was super suspenseful, and it kind of like left you on the edge of your seat, which is always fun to see. I will say kind of there was some pacing issues, I would say, between the second and third quest. It kind of got a little bit repetitive, and the pacing really was a little bit kind of hard to get through just because it slowed everything down. But despite that, I really enjoyed this, and if you're looking for like a unique read, I highly recommend that you check this one out. Like I said, I got it from the library because I wasn't sure, and I enjoyed it so much that I had to pick up a copy for myself. So that goes to show you, I feel like if you like Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher, where it's like this unlikely group of characters kind of form a found family and kind of have to go on a quest to defeat evil, this kind of gives similar vibes. So I really enjoyed this, and like I said, the ending was really, really fun. And lastly, this was a new release that I got from the library as well and picked up a hard copy because I did enjoy it, and it is My Friends by Fredrik Backman. This is his newest novel that came out in May, and I was very excited because the Beartown trilogy is definitely heartbreaking, but it's one of my favorite kind of works of art ever. He has such a very unique style of writing, and it's very lyrical, and I really enjoyed it, and so I was really excited to kind of dive into this one. This one kind of has a very interesting premise where you kind of get a past storyline that is kind of being told to one of the characters in present day. So we follow Louisa, who is kind of essentially run away from her foster care, and one of her like goals was to see this painting that was painted by the mysterious author that is being sold at auction. And so when she goes there, she ends up crossing paths with this homeless man, and it kind of goes from there. So while this is going on, we get told the story of the people that are included in this painting and kind of how past and present day storylines collide. And this one, I think this had I really enjoyed the story and a very interesting storytelling method in terms of like you kind of get snippets of what happened to these people. There's kind of mysteries in regards to who this artist is, who are these friends, what happened to these friends from, what happened when this was painted, 25 years ago. And it really shows the power of friendship and how these relationships that we form at such a young age can have such an instrumental impact on us even years, decades from now. And it shows really the longevity of and importance of those friendships and how they very much shape us into who we are. I felt like the middle of this one too, I did feel like it had a little bit of pacing issues where it was just a little bit kind of annoying in terms of some of the things that happened, like, side things that kind of, send the plot going one direction. I felt like that really kind of took away, and it was just kind of one thing after another where I was just like, just finish telling the story at this point, where it took too long to get to there. So I felt like maybe 50 or so pages could have been shaved off, where it didn't really add much to it. But despite that, overall, I did really enjoy this one as well. I gave a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It wasn't my favorite Fredrik Backman, but I did really love the story. Again, I really love the themes of, found family and the power of friendship, basically. So like I said, this one wasn't my favorite, but I still enjoyed it. So this is the book that I'm currently reading, and I probably will be able to finish it tonight, and it is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. This is probably one of my most anticipated releases of the year because I really love her Shepherd King duology. I read that a couple years ago and I really loved it, and this is her newest release since then. It takes place in this fantastical world where we follow Six, who is a diviner at this kind of mythical cathedral, and she's kind of with 5 other women that are diviners, and she's lived a very isolated life, and she is really devoted to the omens, which are kind of like the gods of this world. And she ends up crossing paths with a knight and a king, and she kind of realizes that maybe there's more to what is going on with these omens, and it kind of goes from there. I want to be a bit vague because I don't want to give too much away, but I really love this. I really love her writing style. There's something about it, like even this was with like One Dark Window or Two Twisted Crowns, I read through it super fast, super quickly, and that is the case with this one here. I'm almost like telling myself to kind of slow down a bit because I want to enjoy this, and I'm very excited to see how it ends because, like I said, I have like 80-ish pages left, so I'll probably be able to finish this tonight, which I'm really excited about. But definitely I think this is one of my favorite books of the year so far. It is romantic-y, but I feel like there is enough. It is, I feel like, dialed down. Like it's, like I said, I have 80 pages left and we're just now kind of getting into it, but this I feel like has a good blend of, you know, romance, you know, adventure, fantasy, very interesting kind of fantastical system with like a good amount of intrigue. So this has everything that I'm looking for and I really love it. Next, this is another new release that just came out last week. There are so many new releases in like so many one after another, so I feel like this month is not so much tackling my TBR, but you know, prioritizing those new releases that I'm really excited about. This one is the Martha's Vineyard Beach and Book Club by Martha Hall Kelly. She is one of my favorite historical fiction writers, and this is her newest release that literally, like I said, just came out last week. And this one just seems really interesting, but it says, 2016, 34-year-old Mary is still grieving after her mother's death as she travels to the Story Island of Martha's Vineyard off the coast of Massachusetts. She's come all the way from California with nothing but a name on a piece of paper. Elizabeth Daverow, the famous but reclusive vineyard painter. When Mary makes it to Miss Daverow's stunning waterfront farm under the guise of taking a painting class with her, Miss Daverow begins to tell her story of the Smith sisters who once lived there. As the tale unfolds, Mary is shocked to learn that her relationship to this island runs deeper than she ever thought possible. 1942, the Smith girls, 19-year-old aspiring writer Candace and 16-year-old war-obsessed Briar, are faced with the impossible task of holding their failing farm together during World War II as the U.S. Army arrives on Martha's Vineyard. When Briar spots German U-boats lurking off the island shore, and Candace falls into an unlikely romance with a sworn enemy, their quiet lives are officially upended. In an attempt at normalcy, Candace and her best friend Bess start a book club which grows both in members and influence as they connect with a fabulous New York publisher who can make all of Candace's dreams come true. But all that is put at risk by a mysterious man who washes ashore and whispers of a spy in their midst. Who in their tight-knit island community can they trust? So this one just seems really interesting. It's also like fairly short too. It's just over 300 pages, but I've really loved all her work. I really love the Faraday trilogy, and so I'm really excited to kind of dive into this one. And like what I like too about this author is that certain characters kind of pop up as well. So we'll see if we get any I guess cameos, I guess, from her previous, books as well. And then two other new releases that come out this month that I won't go into here are Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and then also Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. These come out, well, today when I'm filming this was June 3rd. Atmosphere comes out, and then next week is when V.E. Schwab's book comes out. So I kind of just want to go into these not really knowing too much. I know I've read the synopses in a previous video, but for this one, like I said, there's a lot on my mind these days, so in and out basically things, so that aren't, vital to work in just my day-to-day life or just in one ear out the other. So I kind of want to go into this not knowing too much, but those are the two new releases that I definitely want to get to. And lastly, this is one that's been on my TBR kind of on and off for a little bit, but I definitely want to get to it this summer. And it is Horse by Geraldine Brooks. And this is a book that I got a year ago when we were, or I guess 2 years ago when we were in Montreal when we got engaged. And I was like, I know when I got this book, and it's been on my shelf for 2 years, and I definitely want to get to it, so I need to get to it this summer. And it just seems so interesting. So it says, Kentucky 1850, an enslaved groom and a bay foal forge a bond of understanding that will carry the horse to record-setting victories across the South. When the nation erupts in civil war, an artist who has made his name on paintings of racehorse takes up arms for the Union. On a perilous night, he reunites with the stallion and his groom, very far from the glamour of any racetrack. New York City, 1954. A gallery owner celebrated for taking risks on edgy contemporary painters becomes obsessed with a 19th century equestrian oil painting of mysterious provenance. Washington, D.C., 2019. A Smithsonian scientist from Australia and a Nigerian American art historian find themselves unexpectedly connected through their shared interest in the horse. One studying the stallion's bones for clues to his speed and endurance, the other uncovering the lost history of the unsung black horsemen who were critical to his racing success. So this one just seems like, again, so interesting. I'm very intrigued by this one, and it's one that I keep coming back to. So I was like, you know what, finally, this is gonna be at least the summer that I will get to it. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what books you read this month and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.